You ever have a bad dream where you couldn't sleep? You tossed and turned all night. You get up in the morning, you go out in the shop. You know you're supposed to make something. So I made all these blocks here, but I don't remember the rest of the dream. Well, stick around and see what I make out of these. This should be fun. Alright, it's time for something a little out of the ordinary again. Although this looks fairly ordinary. A piece of maple, walnut, and cherry. I have a number of these pieces. I planed them all up to the same thickness, and I sawed them to the same width. Now I'm going to cut these into much smaller pieces, and then I'll glue them together, and then we'll finally get to turn it. So I'm not going to show you all the cutting because there's going to be a lot of it. Same thing with the glue up. I'll show you how I glue them together in each stage, but not all of it because it's going to be a lot. But it will be fun. So stick around and let's see what happens. Let me show you how all of this is going to work. We're going to do a few pieces with this. Maybe I'll grab some of the other types of wood and cut those as well. Even though I don't expect these to kick back, I'm going to wear my face shield and I'm going to get a mask on and we'll get going. Okay, we're all set up and we're going to cut a few of these. And then Okay, I've got all the pieces cut. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I glue one together, but certainly not all of them because there's a lot. I'm going to get glue on one side here. It goes in this little glue fixture that I made. And I'll put the cherry against it. And I'll get glue on both sides of the walnut here. I'll put that in there, put the other half of the fixture on it. I'll put this clamp here. I'll put this clamp over here. I just snugged it up a little bit there, so now I'll tighten it up. It'll pull those joints together. I'll simply take a wet rag and wipe the glue off, and that's it. So I only have 79 more to go. And I'll see you when it's time to glue these blocks together in rows. Well, it's been a few days since I glued these up. And that's a box full of them. I've actually taken some of the full-size pieces and cut it right down the middle. This will be for the center section of the turning. It just makes no sense to glue it up this thick and turn it away. So some of these are dedicated for the center section. Now I'll glue them together, and this is a fixture that I have made also, and I have two halves of that lines them up. I already have one row lined up here like that. Now we'll glue this in, and again that's not real exciting to watch, but I'll show you how I do this, and we'll come back when we get out here a few more rows. So I just have to make sure I put the glue on the right side so I don't have to clean it off, which I have done. Now I like to cinch them up pretty good, and you see the glue oozing up on the joints. That makes me happy. Real happy. The glue up of all these pieces is very time consuming. I would glue 2 or 3 sections at a time, and I did this over the course of about 5 days, and this is where we're at right now. Okay, last 2 pieces. Okay, next step, let that dry, cut the outside round. Alright, I'm over at the bandsaw. I laid out a line, 16-inch diameter. I'm going to get this cut and then we will get it mounted in the lathe. Okay, alright, it's time to get this mounted. What I've done is I've temporarily fastened the tenon right here. That's so I can get it in the chuck, flatten this out, and then I'll glue this tenon onto the bottom. And I'll do a little shaping here. More than likely I'll keep this pretty flat because it's, the blocks are not thick enough to put a big shape on it. And they look good when they're relatively flat. So let's get it mounted up. So I've got about maybe 7/8 clearance underneath it, and it measures approximately 16.5 at the widest. Let's see how it runs. Pretty smooth, very balanced. It's got 800 RPMs there, but I don't think I'll start out at 800. I'm going to start with my 5/8 bowl gouge and just get that outside round. So let me get my face shield and we'll get going. See how 600 works. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and glue this tenon on and probably let it sit all night. Okay, I will have to turn this off. I'll have to try to figure out how to do that when I get there. I've let this block sit all night. And before I flip it around, I want to true up this outside. Then I'll flip it around and see what we can get on the inside for a shape. And then we may come back over here and work on it. Got it running about 600 RPMs now. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's get it flipped around. Flipped around, and I'll leave the tenon on here because I know I'll be flipping it one more time. I've just sharpened up my 5/8 bowl gouge to do this. Okay, I'm going to do some final shaping on this outside. Okay, I'm happy with this shape right here. So I can go ahead and sand this and the bottom, and I can do it without reversing it. So I had that tenon on there just in case, and I'm happy that I don't have to flip it around because I can reach it. I'm going to use sheets of paper on this rather than the 2-inch disc. I'll start with 80, work my way to 400, and I'll be sanding in reverse at about 350 RPMs. So I'll do that as soon as I get my mask on and start my dust collector. I just finished sanding the outside and the inside. Now I need to remove the material from here to the center. I've just resharpened my 5/8 and my 1/2-inch bowl gouge, and we're cutting a lot of end grain. This piece is end grain this way, and it's a little end grain that way, and it's kind of a mix, so it doesn't cut as easy as you would think with a segment. We're about 760 RPMs. Alright, I'm going to get this tenon off of here. I think I'll just cut it with my parting tool. It should come off pretty easily. I didn't put any under it. Let's see. That's pretty much loose. There we go. Get this the rest of the way off. Alright, I'm going to get set up to sand now. I'm going to take my 4-inch finishing sander. Now I'm going to go over the whole thing here with 120. Let me get a mask on, and I'll show you how that's going to work. And we'll sand this area like this. Alright, so I'll get all the sanded to 400, and when I bring you back, we're going to put a finish on it. And that's going to look cool. Well, it is time to put some finish on it. I've decided to use the Minwax Polycyrlic. But first, I'll put a few coats of the Minwax water-based sanding sealer on it. Just going to wipe it on. And put it on as heavy as I can. Now look at that. It was worth it. Well worth it. I started cutting these blocks 20 days ago, if you're wondering. But I certainly don't work on it for hours a day, because you glue blocks together, you can only do so many. I was able to glue 4 individual blocks because I have fixtures for that at one time. How many blocks do I have? Over 80. I'll go ahead and put the polycrylic on without showing you that, because it's going to look exactly like what I'm doing here. I'm going to wipe it on, make sure I don't leave any streaks, let it dry, sand it, put another coat on. That'll be the procedure. After about 3 coats, this will start really getting a deep look to it. I have it flipped around now. It's up against a wooden faceplate. I have padded material in between it, and I have 6 of these blocks hot glued to the faceplate. It's time to remove this tenon. I'm going to use a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. I give it a little jump start. I don't want it slipping when it takes off. Yep, there it is. Okay. Put a little block against here. And then I'll finish this out and sand it all up, and I'll do this area here at the last. Alright, that's going to be pretty easy. So I've got it sanded to 400, getting the first coat of sanding sealer on it. I think I'll just put 2 coats of sanding sealer and maybe 3 or 4 coats of polycrylic. And then I'll hit it with Acks abrasive paste and polish. So when I'm done with all that, I'll be back and I'll show you what we ended up with. Well, here it is. It's all done. It's made out of many pieces of walnut, maple, and cherry glued together to give it this look. I could have made a 16-inch diameter, but with these blocks, as you turn, the design starts changing. I turned it until I really liked it, and it ended up 15 inches in diameter. And there's the bottom. It looks a lot like the inside. It's fairly flat, but I dished it out just a little bit to make sure it sat flat. It's 2 1/4 inches tall, and I left the walls about 3/4 of an inch. I finished it with Minwax water-based sanding sealer and Minwax polycrylic, and then I went over it with Acks abrasive paste and polish, and that really gave it a nice shine. So when I get it on the turntable, I left a natural area in here that wasn't there when I started turning. A little knot, so it's somewhat of a natural turning. See if you can find that knot while it turns on the turntable. I really like this piece. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. I enjoy reading them all. Thank you to all my current subscribers. It really means a lot to me. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. I do videos weekly. If you click that share button, you can share it with all your friends on social media. That would be great. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks again, and until the next time, see you later.